Howdy YouTube, hope everyone's doing all right. So today I wanted to talk about how using the carnivore diet is keeping me off the operating table. You don't gotta lie to me. If you've ever been overweight like I have, extremely overweight, you've thought about it. You've thought, man, I could lose weight quick. I could feel better if I would just go ahead and let them cut on me. And honestly, there are times that people need to do that to save their lives, but weight loss surgery is not always the answer. And there are people that I've even talked to that have had weight loss surgery that have had lasting impacts after the surgery. And so I'm using carnivore diet as like my last shot at losing weight, naturally on my own without needing to get my stomach cut on. And some of you have had those same thoughts that I've had of, man, we could do this and it would take care of it for me. But nothing against people that have to do that, because sometimes you have to do that, but I don't want to be in that situation. I've tried a lot of other diets and it hasn't worked, but I want the carnivore diet to be the thing that keeps me off the operating table. So I covered it in my previous video, and if you like, go check it out after this video. But 2023 is the year for me. Like, 2023 is the year that I have to prove to myself that I'm gonna do this thing, and I am gonna lose the weight. I'm not gonna yo-yo diet and just go gain all the weight back that I lost. I have to stay committed this year. If not, eventually I'm gonna have to get weight loss surgery or something like that, or have a heart attack or something like that, because this can't go on forever. And if you struggle with your weight, like really struggle, not being 10 or 15 pounds overweight, but like been morbidly obese, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you know how it feels on your body every day. So when I get home, I'm gonna cook me up a chuck roast in my cast iron pan, and instead of just relaxing, I'm gonna take my daughter for a walk. She's gonna ride in her stroller. She loves it, and I love it too, because it's quality time I get to spend with her while improving my health. And I know everyone's going crazy over Cassie's chuck roast over at Carnivore Quest, and mine is similar. I've been cooking chuck roast for a long time. My favorite way to cook chuck roast is actually on the smoker, and then I'll wrap it in a pan after a couple hours. But I didn't have the time to do that this evening after work. So my next favorite way would be to do it in my cast iron pan and still sear it. But the difference in mine and Cassie's, which I'm sure hers is amazing, I love their channel, but I use, instead of water, I do use beef broth. And instead of just salt on mine, I use salt, pepper, and garlic on mine. So I'm preheating my stovetop to like a 6, which is like a medium high heat. Put some butter in the pan. I normally would use tallow or duck fat, but I'm out of both. I just ordered me some more Wagyu beef tallow on Amazon. Like magic, I just seasoned this 2.5 pound chuck roast. Let's get this pan hot and then we'll get it in there. If I didn't mention it earlier, this skillet is a Griswold. It's an old Griswold number 8 chicken fryer, and it's got a really cool lid. I love this skillet, y'all. Love it. It's a Griswold Iron Mountain. Take care of that old antique cast iron, man. It'll last you. It'll last your kids and your grandkids and their grandkids if somebody takes care of it. Right now we're just giving this chuck roast a little bit of a sear before we transfer it to the oven that's been preheating at 375. It'll probably take 2 or 3 hours, but when you're cooking large piece of meats, don't go by time. Go by whenever it's really tender. When it's good and fork tender, you know it's done. And these are kind of like you're basically cooking it like a brisket, so it's probably going to be somewhere around 200 to 205. I've even seen them go to 210 before. One thing that some new cast iron users may not know is that even though it's very, very strong, it also can warp very easily whenever it has huge changes in the heat. So you don't want to just pour ice cold water in super hot cast iron, because it can warp it over time. Just like whenever you're cast iron, and I'll do a video on that one day, but whenever you're cooking with cast iron, you don't want to take it out and start with a super hot skillet and start scrubbing it with cold water. You want the water to be screaming hot if the skillet's hot. If the skillet's cold, you can use cold water, but you don't want to shock the metal. Today was pick up bubbly day. These things are pretty good. I like them. I like the LaCroix and all that too. I ain't put them in my refrigerator out back yet, but they're gonna be good once they get ice cold. Let's stand it up on its side and hit the edges some. You see that difference in color from where it's got a sear on it versus where it doesn't have a sear yet? We're gonna make sure all that's seared up nice before we pop it in the oven. We're getting that sear all over it, don't worry. That cast iron will do it, ain't nothing like it. Stainless can't beat it. Teflon can't beat it. Pretty much nothing that you cook with inside the house is going to beat a cast iron skillet if you learn how to use it. And honestly, it's not hard to use once you figure it out. So I heated up the beef broth over here in the microwave. That way it can go in a hot skillet and it'll be fine. But to take it off of the initial eye, I moved it over to the other side on the stove and let the pan cool down a little bit. It's still hot, but it'll be okay to put it in there now. But definitely don't do this with cold beef broth, because you'll ruin your pans over time. You will warp them. And I'm not measuring, even though this is a measuring cup. I just get it until I think it looks good. I think that's plenty of liquid in there. Now I got it covered up with the lid. I'm about to set the phone down and set this in the oven. Now that we got this setting in the oven, now all we got to do is wait a few hours before we can tear into it. And I'm gonna take my daughter on a walk. Say we're fixing to go walk with Daddy. I think she's enjoying this walk, y'all. It's not super sunny outside today, but I mean, it's still a nice day to walk. It beats burning up in the Alabama summers, don't it, Abigail? Say, it gets hot down here, Daddy. Me and Abigail, we talked it over and we decided we're not gonna film today. Ain't that right, Abigail? We decided that we're just gonna have some father-daughter time and enjoy this walk. And hopefully it inspires some of y'all that are struggling with your weight to get out and walk as well. So I just pulled it out of the oven, and I'm always in a hurry. If you're a parent, especially with a 1-year-old, you know what I mean. So I can't take my time doing this. I'm gonna go ahead and take the lid off. Take the lid off. All right, let's see how we're looking. I'm not even gonna turn my thermopop on because I'm just probing to see if it's tender. If it's tender, probing tender, it's done. It's done. If I was to turn the probe on, it would be over 200 degrees. That's what a chuck roast looked like, y'all. Cooked it in the old cast iron pot. And if you ain't like and subscribed to my page yet and you're still watching my videos, what you waiting on? Go ahead and help a brother out. Like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Thank you, and God bless all y'all.